fella, if love is on your mind, why look any farther? I'm your mojo lady. Just give me your hand and come with me today. Underneath the stars, let me show you the way. I will take you on a joy ride that you won't ever forget. Hello and welcome to the Lady Patice live stream show. I am Lady Patice, the host of the show, and my co-host is Katie Lowe from Rhythm and Flow Radio Show Station. Hello, Katie Lowe. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I'm doing just fine and blessed. I tell you, we have something very, very special for our audience today. And I just cannot wait to get started. But first, I want to make some announcements, shall we?
All right.
Katie Lowe, I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, listen, I'm Katie Lowe from Rhythm Flow Radio live stream right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Spreaker. You can catch Rhythm Flow Radio every Tuesday at 5 p.m. And also in the basement with Macklemore, with none other than Bryant McLemore Smith, every first Monday at 3. You know, last Monday we did a show at 5 because it was a special show. But you can always catch us at 3. And every Saturday, right here on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spreaker with Lady Patice live stream every second and fourth Saturday.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your announcements with the audience. And I want to continue with the announcements here. Yes, if you're looking for live entertainment, live band, live vocal singers, male and female, if you're looking for a DJ, a sound crew, you can call Laverne Music Box at 773-696-6232, or you can call 773-968-1242, and we'll be glad to be your live entertainment at your event. Of all occasions, we do it. We do parties, we do birthday parties, anniversaries, we do mega concerts and local events. So just call us at that number again, 773-696-6232 or 773-968-1242. And we'll be glad to be at your event, giving you a great time. Now, moving right along, I also want to make one more announcement. And on April the 20th, please join Robert Money, Brenda Taylor Rickey, the daughter of legendary Eddie Taylor, and the Delphonics, and many more. They'll be celebrating Women's Awards show and a birthday bash. They will be at 1240 West Randolph. That's in the downtown area of Chicago. The prices of the tickets are now $25. That's a great deal. That is a very good deal. At the door, it's $100. If you want more information about that, you can go to Eventbrite or call 773-354-3339. Again, that number is 773-354-3339 for more information about April the 20th event. Also, one more thing, please check out all of our special announcements and special offerings we're having. You can be the next. Go to Facebook page, Friends Who Share. We appreciate it and we thank you for your support and for your time. And now we're getting ready to go to the next part of the show. Katie Lowe, are you ready?
Yeah, you know what? Let me remind everybody that
Mm-hmm.
we are still in a pandemic, and I know that there are a lot of people that are afraid to take the COVID-19 vaccine. I want to say that I've had both shots with
Mm-hmm.
very, very a little side effects, and I want to tell you that I cannot make up your mind. Nobody can make up your mind but you. I want you to think screen, and I want you to get the vaccine. I want you to remember that you have your family to protect, your relatives to protect, and yourself to protect. So if you are afraid, think about it. Talk to someone who's already has been vaccinated for COVID-19 and think about doing this for yourself if you haven't already. Think spring, get the vaccine. All right,
All right.
let's get it
And may
up.
I say, and in the meantime, Katie, I know me and you both can touch and agree. Continue to be safe, social
Absolutely.
distancing, sanitize those hands, and just be safe once again.
And wear that mask.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Wear that mask.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. Now moving right along to the next part of this show. Coming up next is a nephew who is just as gifted, talented, and anointed with the Holy Spirit as his uncle, the late, great Reverend Milton Bryson. You'll know him by a couple of songs that was great music, great hits, like It's Gonna Rain and There's No Failure in God and The Ship of Mount Zion and many more. So let's welcome the up and coming gospel artist and minister NIKAO PARQUE. How you doing, NIKAO?
Thank you. I'm great. I'm great. It's glad to be. I'm
All
glad to be
right.
here. Glad for
I'm
you all
so
to have
glad.
me. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so glad that you was able to make it. God bless you, and I'm so happy for you to be here. I want to move on and ask a few questions here before you sing. I know you're gonna sing, right? All
Oh
right,
yes, yes. You know it.
all right. What I want to ask you, so you're the nephew of Reverend Milton Bronson, correct?
That's right. That's right. I'm the great nephew of the late Reverend Milton Brunson. Yeah.
Oh my God. My, what a blessing it is. I mean, your uncle has so many hits, and he had won a Grammy, I believe. He won a Stella Award. I mean, God just blessed
Yep.
him in his ministry. So it seemed like the blessings and the anointing is just passed on through the next family member of your family, which is you, and God knows your mom and whoever else. Amen. So I want to.
Amen.
So you've been singing for a while, right?
I've been singing for about 28 years. This is my 28th year. I've been doing this since I was 5 years old.
Wow, amen, amen. And can you tell me the title? Like, are you a songwriter as well, or what is your title in the music industry?
I'm a songwriter. I consider myself a psalmist, a music minister. I love leading worship. I love writing worship songs and gospel songs that reaches the heart to people. I try to when I write my songs, I try to write the things that I've been through, and maybe it'll relate to somebody else. Somebody be able to relate to it and be able to get ministered to and get inspired by. Yeah.
All right. Now, do you have a up and coming CD that you're working on, or do you have anything that's coming out?
Well, my new song, Open Up the Window, is out right now. It's on my Facebook wall. You can just type it up, Open Up the Window. You can go to my page, which is NIKAO PARQUE. It's on Instagram and I'm in the process of putting it on YouTube as well, parts 1 and 2. The second part of it is to open up the Windows remix. So you're going to be getting your tamarines and everything and having church. And it's that kind of song. It's a really awesome song. It's upbeat. It's good for everybody. For you teach your praise teams, your choirs, everything. Open up the windows right now on my Facebook and all social media outlets.
Amen. Well, I'm very, very proud of you, and congratulations, and keep on doing what you're doing. You know, I'm looking forward to hearing other music from you, original music, and even some remix, if it's permitted, of gospel music. You know, so I'm not going to hold you up, but I want to allow you to give the audience time to sing and minister and just, you know, just do what you do for the Lord. And I'm going to leave the platform, and we're going to welcome NIKAO. I call him Minister NIKAO PARQUE, as he gives us a selection.
Thank you. Here we go. Just 1 second where I get my music. I have to put my music on, everybody. Okay, let's go. I'm singing a late Douglas Miller song. It's called My Soul Has Been Anchored in the Lord. I hope you all are ministered to it. Here we go. Though the storms keep on raging in my life, and sometimes it's hard to tell the night from day, still that hope that rises within is reassured. As I keep mine eyes upon the distant shore, I know he'll lead me safely to the precious place he has prepared. 'Cause if the storm don't cease, and if the winds keep on blowing in my life, my soul has been anchored in the Lord. Though the storms keep on raging in my life, and sometimes it's hard to tell the night from day, still that hope that lies within is reassured. As I keep mine eyes upon the distant shore, I know he'll lead me safely to the precious place he has prepared. 'Cause if the storm don't cease, and if the winds keep on blowing in my life, my soul has been anchored in the Lord. I realize that sometimes in this life we're gonna be tossed by the waves and the currents, the sea so fierce. But in the word of God, I have an anchor. Keep me steadfast, unmovable, despite the time. But 'cause if the storm don't cease, and if the winds keep on blowing, it's my life, my soul has been anchored in the Lord, in the Lord, in the Lord, my soul has been anchored in the Lord. My soul has been anchored. My soul's been anchored. My soul's been anchored. Yeah. My soul's been anchored. My soul's been anchored. My soul's been anchored. My soul. The billows may roll, the breakers may dash. I should not sway because he holds me fast. So dark the day, clouds in the sky. I know it's all right, 'cause my Jesus is nigh. And my soul's been anchored. Oh, my soul's been anchored. Ooh, you can talk about me as much as you please, 'cause the more you talk, I'm gonna bend my knees. Oh, yeah, yeah. My soul has been anchored in the Lord. Thank you.
Amen, amen, amen. I know my soul has been ministered to, Minister NIKAO PARQUE. I'm telling you, it's just blessed me in so many ways. Thank you, God. Oh my God. I just want to say you did such an awesome job. You have such a awesome and amazing voice, vocals. I mean, it's just there. God just giving you that gift alone, you know. So I just want to commend you and continue to do what you're doing and let God guide you and show you the way. And you can't go wrong with that. And I want to welcome you to come on back to my show again if time permits. And you can do another song or two, you know. So thank you so much. And I pray that you continue to be successful in all that you do. Amen.
Thank you. Amen. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here.
Let's give another welcome. Let's give another applause to Minister NIKAO PARQUE. All right, Katie Lowe. All right.
I'm here. Yes, you do. You have an awesome voice. You really, really do.
Woo! All right now. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, oh my goodness. We need that. There's so much happening in the world. And I hope somebody was touched. I hope somebody was blessed. I hope somebody got something good out of that. I'm telling you, amen. Now, move right on. Oh, we have such oh God, we have such a special show today. You know, we want you all to press like and share, like and share, like and share. Our next guest, and she's bringing her whole entire crew. I'm telling you, it's an event that's coming up very soon this month, and I want to. Do you have all that for me?
Yeah, I want to say that the guest that you're about to meet is a part of American. Everybody wants to say Black history, but right. I want to say that Black history is a part of American history. I don't know why America is ashamed of her history and want to, exclude people of color. We are a very important part of American history. And the next story that you are about to hear is a story that we all know about. We may not know the history of the story, but believe me, if you ever sat down at the table to eat breakfast, there is something unique about this story. Oh, and yeah. I don't want to let the cat out the bag, because I want our guests to tell their story. But I tell you, once they start talking, once they start elaborating on this piece of Black history, I guarantee you can go and look in your pantry and you're going to find this. Because you know what I did? I took an inventory of my pantry and I had these products. They were in there. And I decided to take my packaging and save it. Because this is one great story. And it's an honor to have this, should I say this? They are family. We all are family. Yes. But to have them come and tell their story. And then they're going to tell you about something exciting that's going to happen. And this is an event that everyone should attend.
All right, before I bring them in, I'm first going to say their names and their position, and they will give you more details. The first guest that's coming, her name is bring them in as I say their name and their position. Her name is Sherry Williams. She's the president of Bronzeville Historical Society at Illinois of Technology Institution. Welcome here to the Lady Patice live stream show with Lady Patice and Katie Lowe. Thank you so much, Sherry Williams, for coming. And our next guest, we bring them in one by one. She's a songwriter, vocalist, and founder of the Oscar Brown Jr. Foundation, Maggie Brown. Hello, Maggie Brown. Thank you for coming to our show this evening.
Thank you.
Now, I wish I had an NBA music or something, because I'm telling you, it's about to get out.
And that's not even everybody.
Our next guest is coming. Right after that, we have she's in Mobile, Alabama. She's the CEO president of TAP Entertainment and Management, and her name is SHANI R. Davis.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Oh, wait! I'm not done here. We have another one. Hold up, I gotta get it right now. We have another one coming in. Hold up. He is a legendary bass player. He also has his own magazine. If I'm not mistaken, it's Bass Tribe Nation magazine. He's worked with some of everybody in the industry. Thank you. Thank you. I hear the NBA going, and no other, Charles HORSCH Jr., aka CHUCKALUCK. Let's give it up. Let's give it up. Woo! Thank you. We got our DJ.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you so much. All right, is I'm missing anybody? Is everybody here? All right, all right. Well, welcome to Lady Patice live stream show. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for coming to this event. Oh my God. I mean, this is like a moment I've been waiting for. I'm teary-eyed, so excuse me for a minute because I'm just happy. Thank you all so much. Am I missing anybody? I got everybody here. Okay, okay. Now, I'm gonna start with. Let me get my stuff here. Oh, my notes. I'm gonna start with Sherry. Sherry, now you're the president of Bronzeville Historical Society at Illinois Technology Institution. You do have more than one hat. Would you like to share with the audience, a little bit about yourself and why we all here together on this night?
Well, I want to start out by just acknowledging the minister, NIKAO, and how he blessed us earlier. And I just want to say, I got a shout in for a second before you all brought me in. And so I just wanted to recognize the blessing that he poured on this event today. As you shared earlier, I'm Sherry Williams. I take the title of being president and founder of Bronzeville Historical Society very seriously, because it definitely was an effort of more than just myself. It was family and friends and colleagues and whoever you name, but somehow I ended up getting tapped to be the spokesperson. So I'm standing in front of you guys today representing many, so not just myself as the named leader. Without a doubt, I want to share so much about the upcoming programs that are happening around what we call Reimagine Aunt Jemima. And as many of you already know, Aunt Jemima product brands were taken off the shelves in June of 2020.
All right, she'll be right back with us. I think he froze a little bit there. Yes, yes. She'll be right back. All right, now we're talking about the story of the re-imaging of Nancy Green. There it is, right there, right there. Thank you so much, Katie Lowe. Yes, we're talking about the event that's coming up very soon. I want to allow Sherry or maybe CHUCKALUCK to tell us more about it as they bring Sherry back. Okay, Chuck this here. All right.
All right. Well, you know what? Don't worry about it. We got it. Okay. This is the rest of the team. Miss Maggie Brown probably even knows too, but this is all about a travel and a journey into just not to our ancestors, but those who helped to build a nation, to help build a family. So what we got? Oh, we got Miss Williams back on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I lost connection, but Sister Shania, go right ahead and continue to speak because we're all in this together.
Yeah, we pretty much so. What happened was Bronzeville Historic Society decided to give me a call, Miss Sherry Williams and the rest of them. What's the linkage to that is that most of my family and ancestor come from Englewood, Chicago. I have one side, which is my mother and them side, that come from Georgia straight to Englewood, Chicago. And then we have the Mississippi side that came to Bronzeville and over to the south side of Chicago. It's a pretty major event. When I heard about Miss Nancy Green and Aunt Jemima and how she had been missing and this long investigative report from Miss Williams, she has worked tirelessly. I want to say thank you, Miss Williams. Yes. We appreciate it. And more of this work needs to be done in the field. Ms. Bragg Brown, a teacher and all that stuff. And this is what's missing in our community. A bridge that just doesn't say this is all about color. A bridge that doesn't just say it's all about Aunt Jemima. A bridge that doesn't just say, oh, they're the typical Black women in America that have to come out and work from behind the scenes in order to get American notoriety or anything else. And I love pancakes. I always have since a child. So I don't know, maybe through this journey, Matter of fact, I just had some early this morning. The original, I love the original, but since they changed it, it's not the same. So I'm praying that all throughout this, we can really help the family bring the recipes back online, have people to actually tour and see what's going on. So that's the involvement with TAPS. Is a total collaborative studio, arts and entertainment, an alliance just all over not just the United States, but the world. Go ahead, Ms. Williams, you do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
beautifully said.
Dang it!
That is beautifully said. Oh my goodness.
I don't want to take over the show, but I certainly want to.
This week is the platform. We want y'all. Come on, I'm ready.
I wanted those who are viewing the show today to know a little history about Nancy Green, who is noted as the original Aunt Jemima. And even on the website for PepsiCo, they still note that she's the original Aunt Jemima, you know, the product brand ambassador. So 140 years, she has been the first person recognized in marketing and advertising as a living, breathing representative. You know, she portrayed Aunt Jemima, but she had her own identity. So I want to talk a little bit about her own identity outside of her being a brand ambassador for Aunt Jemima products. She was born in 1834 as an enslaved woman in Kentucky. After maybe 10 years of being emancipated, she moved to Chicago, and she moved in with family that was here already. The census reports put her in Chicago a little bit after 1870, and she lived with her great niece and her great niece's husband and their children. And so when we talk about the Great Migration, go ahead, Queen Shania. When we talk about the Great Migration, you know, many of us came up to Chicago and lived with family member who had came before, just as my grandmother did. She moved up here and moved with a brother. And so it was so incredible to find out that her move to Chicago, you know, resonated with me because I knew that my family had done the same. You know, she was part of that Great Migration. And Maggie Brown will talk a little bit about the importance of the Great Migration.
You done said that word so many times. I'm just itching over here, but I'm waiting my turn.
Now, when you mentioned the Great Migration, I know that she was also a member of one of the largest African American churches here in Chicago. If I'm pronouncing the word right, Olivet Baptist Church. I think that's on King Drive, isn't it?
Olivet.
Yeah, Olivet Baptist Church.
Baptist Church.
And
she was a member there for a long period of time. So
she was recognized as a minister, which is unusual because you know a lot of congregations certainly did not recognize women as having the ability or could be appointed as a minister or a missionary. So to have that put in the newspapers meant that she had a great position within the church. Now imagine this church started in 1850. Slavery didn't end until 1865. So free blacks had came to Chicago and established this congregation, and she joined this congregation after her arrival here. And so the church was the original mega church. You know, all of the records around Olivet Baptist Church show that they had a congregation in the 1900s exceeding 9,000 members.
Yes.
Okay, so, somebody step in.
Yeah. So before you see the mega churches,
it looks like the screen is but I know that they will. I know that they will unfreeze themselves, and they are talking about a project that has to do with Nancy Green. Okay, they're unfrozen. Somebody's unfrozen.
Okay. Were you able to, excuse me for 1 second, was you able to get CHUCKALUCK back? Anybody?
Yeah, I'm going to bring it back in now.
Okay. All right. Sorry, y'all. Don't mean to be rude or nothing. I apologize.
No problem. No problem. So I just wanted to get
I want to ask you a question, Sherry. I did hear you say that she was a slave. Nancy Green was a slave.
Yes.
Okay, and she when did she get her freedom? Now you know a lot of slaves they didn't know that after Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation that they were free. Some of them still thought that they were enslaved because the slave master didn't tell her.
Yeah.
So when did she find out that she was free, or did they take her recipe? You know how back then they would take your patent and give you your freedom. So do you have any history on how she became a free person?
There are very few records that explain how the pancake company acquired the recipe. But
Hmm.
there are some newspaper accounts that say that when she worked for Dr. Samuel Walker's family, that they were who had introduced Nancy Green to the then it was the Rutt milling company.
Yeah,
So it was a different
yeah.
company. Quaker Oats did not acquire the recipe and the brand of Aunt Jemima and the face of Aunt Jemima until 1926. And that would have been 3 years after her death. So there are not many records out there that gives any clear indication as to when she would have made the recipe. But there are accounts in newspapers that say that she actually made the recipe. But I haven't found any physical proof like a contract or something like that that would prove that. But news accounts put her as the originator of the recipe itself. So far as her freedom, I can only start with finding her solidly in records after 1870. So that would have been 5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation.
Wow.
One can only imagine that she remained enslaved up until 1865. You know, that's a sort of a safe bet, but there's no indication of her having freedom prior to that. And but one of the things that I thought was very fascinating is that in the 1900 census, the census takers would take an account and interview every individual in a household. And when they interviewed Nancy Green, they asked if she could read or write, and she said yes. And I found that so fascinating that a woman who was born in enslavement and at a time where it was illegal to teach Blacks to read and write, that here she was, a fully grown woman who could read and write. I mean, I was 40 years old before I found out my dad couldn't read or write. I thought he had me read the newspaper to learn how to read myself and read the bills because he wanted me to learn finances. But all of those many years, somehow, without him being literate, he was able to take care of his household. So to read that she, a woman enslaved at one time, could read and write, I said, wow. You know, it just opened up a whole new perspective of her rich life.
Yes, it does. Oh my God. Oh my
I
God.
want to say that don't try to listen to the show while we're live because it sends an echo out while we're doing the show. And
It might be Chuck that's not muted.
I'm getting that echo that there's a device
Is
on
that coming?
somewhere.
Is that coming
And
from my
we don't
side?
want that because this is such an important show. It has so much history that you know that we can educate ourselves about. Those of us that don't know that, you know, we want everybody to get the best out of it.
Because with the Aunt Jemima story, learning about Nancy Green and
Okay, with the Aunt Jemima story, learning about Nancy Green and her life. Like I say, it's important
I
to all.
had no idea about it. Yeah. Can you hear
There's
me?
I can.
I had no idea about I had no idea about the Nancy Green story, anything about it. All I knew, I love her pancakes and her syrup and the butter and everything else, and stack them high and just enjoy myself in the morning for breakfast. So you stepping out on faith, because to me, what you did was stepping out on faith, and then everybody, it's just like faith just brought everyone in together as one to make this possible. So I have to say thank you all for just doing what you're doing, because it's opened people's eyes. When I heard it, it's like a light bulb lit up. It's like, just something like just lit up in me. And I was like almost like a child, and I want to know more. I want to know more about the Aunt Jemima story. I wanted, who else? What else happened? It just, now you have my attention. And when I shared with my family, they was like amazed to hear that. So just imagine how many more people are going to have the same reaction to the Nancy Green and Edith Wilson and so many others that was a spokesman for Cricket Oats and Jemima Pancakes. It's going to just spread like wildfire. That's why I think like wildfire, or just take over and just open people's eyes. And not only that, make you want to learn history a little more.
Yes.
Make you want to dig deep. Don't just look at the surface, but dig a little deep.
Now, but how does Maggie Brown fit into this story?
Good evening, everyone. Been enjoying everything so far. Thank you so much for having me, Patice. Glad to be on your show. And so my connection is because I know CHUCKALUCK. I know Charlie HORSCH, and so that's because of my late brother, also a bassist, and he would always highly recommend Chuck when he couldn't do the gig, and so they had a great bond, and so he thought of me when it was time to work on a song, and I'm very proud of what we came up with. He had music, a demo idea, and I remember writing in the studio and trying to figure out how to fit some lyrics into what was already there. And so you guys, I actually made the song, and then I went away, as we do. We go away from the studio, and it's been many months, and since I had heard it. And boy, when I heard it the other day, oh my goodness, that Nancy Green song, y'all just wait. That's a good one. And so that's CHUCKALUCK, and then me. Thanks to him, he invited me to write on it. And I'm just grateful to God that, I was inspired. I say, up from slavery, she migrated to Chicago, where she made it, to Bronzeville, where she created. But her legacy is understated. She fed me and your child too. I bet you never ever knew. Without fanfare or fame, but we can't allow you to forget her name. So that's why we're here, is because it's not that people should forget who she is. And though there's been this controversy in the media, because, white folks are trying to figure out what to do. It's like, oh, y'all always made her look like a mammy. So then they try to change it and put her pearls on or whatever. But the point is, no, even the original woman, however they made her look, that's the sister that, she done fed 1 billion families. There ain't nobody, how old do you know that ain't had an Aunt Jemima pancake or some Aunt Jemima syrup? Raise your hand, prove it. All right, so yep. So I love that I was inspired to tell the story in this song that Chuck wrote. I bet you never knew. I say my mama's flapjacks are flipping destiny, because if you put it in that perspective, y'all, young people especially, y'all are hip to, the sports people, the athletes giving endorsements, the original endorsement deal. But she didn't get the deal, you understand, because we wasn't getting the deal. It wasn't that she owned it and got to, say what she would maybe, offer, field offers of what she would get paid, but instead it's up to us, to make the fanfare, to call attention to it. And then the fact that I found out that she came to Bronzeville, which is like, that's so close. She probably knew my grandfather, because he and his brother definitely came up from Mississippi in the Great Migration, right? Because they were seeking a better way of life for the young people, and getting out of the Jim Crow laws and stuff of the South. And made it up to Howard, got their education, and came to Bronzeville and started Black people in business, started Black people in condominiums way back. And so I bet they could have even been comrades, right? because they were both right here at that same time. And that just makes me feel connected, makes me feel good. And so then I'm always inspired to write something that would hopefully make others feel that same, that same connection and pride as well as responsibility, right? To carry on in the ways of the ancestors. So I say, power in her recipe, done fed a billion families. The flavor of the century. My mama's flapjacks flipping destiny. And we ain't talking about the century, the 21st, the one we're in, or the 20th even. We're talking about the 19th. She was flipping destiny, basically. And you must respect this when you're eating breakfast, right? Because everybody done had some of this.
Absolutely.
Maggie,
wow, voice, Maggie. I love her voice. Can you sing a song?
What?
Wait a minute. For those that don't know who Maggie Brown is, Maggie, would you please introduce yourself?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Very proud to tell you. I'm Maggie Brown. That's because I'm Oscar Brown Jr.'s daughter. And I'm one of his 7 children and one who's been very active in making sure that his legacy is known about, preserved, and proliferated as best as possible. I'm a singer, a vocalist, a Chicago, native, and I'm still living here on the South Side. And very glad to have teamed up with the Bronzeville Historical Society on this project to, call attention to Nancy Green, to Aunt Jemima, to the very earliest, the very groundbreaking, pioneering first-time Black folks making a brand, really, back in the day. But she didn't, they didn't do the right thing because they weren't respecting our rights or anything like that. But yeah, the fact is, and we know that fact. And so we're happy to create art around it and exhibits and information and books and more stories and reasons to talk about how great our ancestors are.
Yeah.
Amen.
You said it. Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Get it, Maggie.
Can I get a call from just a little bit?
Come on with it.
You saying me sing? Yeah, that ain't no problem. So like,
yes, ma'am.
It only makes sense to sing that one, but I don't really have a track for it. I know CHUCKALUCK is standing by, and let's see, but I could deal with, maybe I can look at the Great Migration, a little bit of that with some, we always want to try to find a track for what we're doing, right? Let me see, Great Migration, instrumental, that's what we want. Let's see. I don't know if that has my voice on it or not. Let's see. So Nancy Green came up in the Great Migration. I said my grandfather came up in the Great Migration. And so many came from Mississippi, right? What makes it a great migration is that folk back then would travel great distances to secure a future of positive instances. And though the journey was filled with danger, keeping faith in what's unseen to my people is no stranger. Did I mention all the miles that they covered in search of their hopes and dreams to discover, seeking a life free of grueling labor and an opportunity to taste the city flavor, the way that it moved people out from the sharecropper life of the South. The fact that without Jim Crow, hope and progress had a chance to grow. So I'll tell you what makes it. Y'all say, what makes it a great migration? I'll tell you what makes it. Ask me, what makes it a great migration? People made a new start in their life so that their children wouldn't have the same strife. It gave a chance for a better education to move back people forward for the new generation. The music moved up as people moved out into new frontiers and venues, no doubt. And jazz got a college education. And jazz spread beyond the nation. Jazz spread through cities and across the seas. Without segregation, racism could freeze. The music led to more communication, helping improve human relations. The fact that it came with a price, the price of many an American's life. The fact that it helped them to see jazz improvisation made the people feel free. Ooh-wee. I'll tell you what makes it. Y'all say,
what makes it a great migration?
I'll tell you what makes it. Ask me, what makes it a great migration? It gave way to seizing opportunity. When folk first arrived to build a community, my people faced struggles and injustice. In spite of odds, we came up winning. You can trust this. And y'all see proof in the metropolis that flourished, making way for the movement which is nourished, building on unity, forging revolution, standing up for our futures, marching to a solution. Nancy Green and them, my granddad, and if you look into it, probably your granddad and them too. Grow up proud enough to wear an afro. So I'll tell you what makes it. Y'all say,
what makes it?
I'll tell you what makes it. What makes it a great vibration?
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, y'all.
Beautiful. Oh my God. Also, girl, you just gotta flow out
let
of
me
this
just
world.
plug starting on some Fridays, every Friday, and starting April 23rd on 71st Street. Look out for MaggieBrown.com and you'll find out information about some shows we'll be doing in South Shore. And and then just look out for what's happening at the Bronzeville Historical Society, and the library deal is coming out and all that. And keep in touch.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. That is just beautiful. Now, Katie Lowe, I want to ask, did you put on the banner for me the information about the re-imaging of Aunt Jemima? I don't want to leave the show without that on there on the live stream banner. Now, CHUCKALUCK, I'm gonna come over to you, and would you like to share your input about the upcoming event that's coming up this month on April the 23rd, the re-imaging of Aunt Jemima?
Yeah. First, I would like to say, first of all, can everybody hear me okay? Because it's a little hard for me to hear, but can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Breaking up a little.
Yeah, he needs to turn his volume up just a little.
Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Now we can.
Hello there. I thought talking about. Okay, first, I'd like to say hello, everybody. Happy Solar Energy Day. God woke us up today to do whatever we do and get and continue our purpose on this planet. I want to commend, first of all, I want to say, I want to commend Sherry Williams for her 15 years in digging up this Nancy Green story. I want to make that clear to all you viewers out there. The reason why we're sitting here, and because all this is ordained, by the way, and so this is a spiritual movement, and I just wanted to make sure that people understand how this, when she wrote this story, the ABC News that was on Hula and all the platforms we know in social media, Sherry Williams is responsible for spending her entire 15 years of her time in her research to bring this to fruition. And now she doesn't know that she just opened up the pancake Pandora box. Okay, let me start off by saying that. And that led to me, and that led me to Maggie Brown, that led me to you, which you Patice is part of this project, and many other artists, and this is going to be a continual, what I call a continual component that I'm doing in association with Bronzeville Historical Society, being the music visionary for this movement, which is it's an arts and cultural movement arm that I'm doing for Bronzeville. And there are a lot of, as Sherry always say, and that was the best way to encompass all these things that are going. She always says there's a lot of moving parts going here, and that is so real to me, and that's stuff in my mind, because there's so many exciting things that we got coming up to the culture of indigenous people, Native Americans, because we've been reclassified so many times, and I couldn't think of a better iconic figure as Nancy Green, the original Aunt Jemima, as a platform to move culture to for us to evolve both arts and culture and history all in one place. Meaning, what I mean by this, what do you mean by this when you say art? The arts and culture, the cultural movement, historical movement. But those three components are very important for us, for our liberation in this country as we know it. And so my part that I'm playing is the musical part, the musical narrative, to make sure that we do what they call protest songs about her story, so that we can hear the educate and decodify people and re-enter real history, because you can't move forward in your future if you don't understand your past.
That's true. So true.
Okay. Right. So now,
true.
with that being said, now my part is that I'm going to put on just because I know I'm having a lot of time on the show to put all these moving parts to talk about. But one of the things that I want to do, well, first of all, I have a new album with all these great artists, as Maggie Brown, yourself. I mean, we got some beautiful music. And now I'm going to bring Maggie, I'm going to bring Tom in on this storyteller song, because everything that I'm writing about, that we're writing about Nancy Green and Chimama, is that these songs are titled that everything she ever did throughout her life. We know she was an activist. We know that she was a churchgoer. We know that she created the Chimama recipe, which is controversial right now. And we know that she was a storyteller at the Museum of Science and Industry where that World Fair took place. So there are so many things that you can't imagine what Sherry did to open up this door for me, because I always loved history in school. I've always loved history. And so now that she's put me in a position, whether she knew it or not, for me to excel and elevate the consciousness of our people, using the power of music as a narrative to really do something special and speak to the power to the music. So we can no longer afford to turn the cheek. This is the perfect season to speak truth to power, to exercise our First Amendment, which means that we can petition the government. We can talk about the delusion of institutions that say that we're supposed to be protected by law enforcement, and all these treaties have been broken. And so their forefathers that I'm talking about, whether we're talking about white supremacy or whoever in power, whether they're black or white or green, we know that they're part of why we cannot elevate. So we're going to shine the light on those people in a very nice way. I'm going to put it that way. But we're definitely going to speak. At least I'm going to be kind of man, because we know that they want to get rid of the alpha man on the planet. So I really understand the war that we're in worldwide, and especially in this country. So what I wanted to say on the positive part at the end of this is that I want to create, through this music, the first Nancy Green, the original Chimama Music Festival. And I want to put it on steroids, where we're going to make like a Woodstock, like when the Hendrix was playing back in the day. We're going to create a Woodstock and Chimama, where everybody's going to be eating pancakes and Chimama pancakes and Chimama crepes throughout the whole festivities. Okay, you got that? You all understand that part?
Crepes. Oh.
I want to stop for just 1 minute, because I know our time is running out. Sherry Williams, if you don't mind, can you give the audience the information of where the re-imaging of Aunt Jemima project will be located at, and all the information they need, so they can come and see what we've been doing, what we've been all working on. And especially, I want to, before you say anything, I want to tell everybody, thank you so much for taking out your time, your busy schedule, to come on my little bitty show. Thank you. That means so much to me, because this thing is much bigger than all of us put together. And this what moved me when CHUCKALUCK shared the story, when Sherry gave me deeper details. This is not just about me doing what I'm doing today. This is beyond today. This is something I'm committing myself to, So I'm here for the long run. And when I say I'm in it, I'm in it. And I'm not going nowhere until God said, okay. But other than that, I'm here. And I'm going to do everything that I can, whatever little I got, whatever much I have, to help y'all keep this going.
I have a question. I'd like for someone to tell the listening audience how the re-imaging how this project that you're working on, how did it come about? What sparked it?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that happened when I had to find the living descendants of Nancy Green. Imagine she died in 1923. So for us to put a headstone on her grave September 5th, 2020, we had to first locate her next living kinships. And so what seemed like an impossible task, I'm a trained historian. And one of the things, even before the internet emerged, somebody in your family has probably had the same phone number and the same address for many years. Like my grandmother had the same phone number for 35 years. My mother had the same phone number until she passed away in 2017. And so I just followed those breadcrumbs in order to find the next living kin of someone who died in 1923. Now, it only took me 6 years to find the next kin, but the hardest part was to convince the cemetery that this family wanted the Chicago community to acknowledge their loved one that's buried here, because all of her kin live abroad. None of them are in Chicago. And once the paperwork got done, there was one stall after another. So it actually was nearly 15 years between the time that I realized that she was buried there in an unmarked grave and the time that we actually put the headstone down. So it took a number of years. It took tenacity, and it took, just every single thing we could do to try to get Oakwood Cemetery to cooperate. One of the things that I'm so proud of is the team that emerged out of this effort. Once we realized that we got the green light, the first person I called was SHANI. And we were just like, okay, so what are we going to do? We finally got the green light. And so we knew that Facebook was a good platform for getting people to contribute to get the headstone put down. But as soon as we put that Fund Me page on Facebook, it was at the same time that the Black Lives Matter happened around George Floyd. So this new awakening about how marginalized our stories are, or how they're hidden, or how they're never told or never written or whatever, people started looking for ways in which they could find out about Black excellence. And so they found my page on Facebook, and it went from $50 donation to $7,700 was donated. And so, it's remarkable how, the heavens will make certain that you have it. Because when we posted it, SHANI and I kind of laughed about it. We was like, looks like we're going to have to pay for a headstone. So we had no idea where the money was going to come from. But people gave from all over the globe. So I just want to, give a shout out to the incredible team. Certainly, Queen Katie Lowe, you are a part of this team, whether you want to be or not. Lady Patice, I salute you. My Queen Shania Davis, our brother Marvlin, who's working behind the scenes. Queen Maggie Brown, brother CHUCKALUCK, Queen Charlotte Hinton, Queen Brenda Taylor, Dr. Erica Williams, Aaron and Val Williams, her twins, Bernard and Vincent Williams, my daughters Joy, Shana, and Aja have been just so supportive of us making certain that we raise the visibility of whom have been left as a forgotten icon. And so, just the timing of it was just all great. That at the same time the product was being removed was the same time we got the green light to put the headstone down. So it's, it just was all in divine order. And so all of us who are inspired by her story, just the simplicity of knowing a woman who used what skills she had in order to make a living for herself. Now, in the 1900s, it wasn't until after 1940 that Social Security and, disability and all these benefits came about. So everybody worked until they died. They didn't have safety nets. There was no pool of money anywhere. So the church served as that way. It had all of these different committees, and they had groups who made certain if someone passed away, they would get buried properly. So I don't even have any idea how Nancy Green ended up in one of the most prominent cemeteries in the city. Although her grave was not in one of the grand places that you see like Harold Washington or John Johnson, It simply signaled that she must have been recognized beyond her own Black community to have gotten, a grave in such a really historic cemetery. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone. I want everyone to visit reimagineandyourmama.com. The website is going to give everyone by next week, we'll have the link that you can come and visit virtually the opening of the Reimagine and Your Mama exhibition, which will be available for you to come into the library. Woodson Library is 9525 South Halsted, and they're open 7 days a week. So you just have to check the Chicago Public Library website on their hours for 7 days a week. But after April 23rd, you can visit in person and see photographs and documents and boxes of Aunt Jemima pancake mix and rolling pins and pots and pans and all the things that were representative of the rich experience and the skill set that it took for someone to be able to feed the world with pancakes.
Have you checked? Have you? Go ahead.
Well, before we go any farther, I want to make sure that I introduce to our audience is a young lady right underneath is CHUCKALUCK. Her name is Chevrolet. Chevrolet, are you there? Chevrolet. I've been calling her Chevrolet. I'm sorry. Chevrolet, you there? Yes, I want to make sure that I introduce to everyone Chevrolet. You want to say something right quick?
I can really hear you, Patice, because I'm in a noisy area right now, so I can't really hear. But
we hear you.
We hear you. All right.
Okay, let me ask this question because people that are listening
technology right now trying to fix it.
Let me mute his mic while he's talking. People that are listening, they really need to understand what's really happening before our eyes, because this is something that is very fantastic. Out of placing a headstone on her grave, this project, the re-imaging of Aunt Jemima, this project that you all are working on, was born. Am I right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Now, can you tell us just something about the re-imaging project? I know you don't want to just give it away, but just tell us enough to make us want to come check it out.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we saw was so important when we're talking about figures, whether they're real or imagined. You have actors that are out there that are associated with a role that they have played. So, 48, who doesn't remember To Serve with Love? But, people might call him his name in the character, but they recognize the genius of his being an actor. Well, this, in every newspaper account that I've read about Nancy Green, it acknowledges the fact that she was a phenomenal storyteller, that she had a great voice, that she had a persona that made folks be compelled to buy the product. And she was a cook, of course. So when you think about the skill set that it takes to be an advertising brand ambassador, it's more than just you getting paid to do this job. It's got to be something also that you're good at, that, you're recognized as that person who's most important associated with the product. Now, while there might be some people that say, well, it was a mammy figure or whatever, never in my household did I look at this as a mammy figure, because everyone in my family born in Mississippi on both sides of my family, when they went to the field to do the hardest work in the world, picking cotton, trust me, they had their head covered. Trust me, they had on garments that was going to keep their arms from getting scratched up from going past cotton when they're, picking and pulling these sacks and things like that. So I understood the symbolism of seeing a woman with her head wrapped. In Liberia, for instance, if a woman is walking around with her head wrapped, whether it's a scarf or it's a bandana, or she might do an Erykah Badu, people in Liberia recognize that that person is astute and they are in meditation and that they're a mother and that they're a prayer warrior. So what white people or those who don't know about the history of why we cover our head, even the Bible talks about the difference between a woman with her head covered and a woman without her head covered. So when I hear these things, I go like, really? Where are these markers coming from? But for me, because of the fact that I came from a household that cleanup week was cleanup week. It wasn't spring break. So we wrapped our heads up. We put on clothing that is for work, to scrub the floors, to scrub the walls, to do the gardens and all of this. So we're reimagining Aunt Jemima beyond this persona that might be looked at in media as her just being a mammy figure. You know, there isn't a time that you don't understand through history that Black women nursed white children before they even got a chance to nurse their own children. So Black women symbolize strength and courage and having to deal with things that are adversities that some of us would say, I wouldn't take that, you know, I wouldn't take that mess, you know. And so we wanted to reimagine Aunt Jemima as a phenomenal, strong Black woman.
Yes. I wanted to say something about just like motherhood. Like Aunt Jemima, just the fact that like motherhood is most important, not just like the capitalistic aspect of her being a brand maker in the early days, but just what mama represents. My mama's so dear to me. Feed me, give me what I need. My mama is such a queen, can't understand why they do her so mean, you know. So that's another reason to just acknowledge mama and the respect that she deserves and the nurturing that and keeping us together, as you were just basically saying, that, you know, understanding the backbone, an important aspect of the backbone of what has kept us together.
Okay, thank you.
And then for me, I want to say this remind me of my great grandmother, what she shared with me when we was over at CHUCKALUCK house taking the pictures and stuff, and it just had me going back into my childhood when I would watch my great grandmother in the kitchen cooking preserved fruits, and she would have the whole floor smelling so good. You know, everybody knew Mom was in the kitchen cooking, you know, and she was very good at it, and it passed down to her children and even my mother and myself. So it's like, just listening to this bring us back to being proud of ourselves and embracing ourselves and not being ashamed of who we are, but to step up as a people, as one. And that's what I love about this. So thank y'all for welcoming me in. Thank you for letting me be a part of this, man. It's just awesome.
And I want you to know the markup. If you are lucky enough to find the Aunt Jemima products, like the pancake mix and the syrup, with her face on it, I want to tell you the markup has gone through the roof. I mean, they're selling one bottle of syrup now in some places for $400. Some of them got $250. I mean, I was looking on the internet, and they had you get 2 bottles of Aunt Jemima syrup with her picture on it, and I believe it was on Amazon, and they were asking for over $250.
Ooh, that's it. That's like it should be a whole lot more,
That's a lot for $100 a bottle for a bottle of syrup that we normally take $2 or $3 for on the shelf.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be more than that, you know, because it's becoming extinct.
Well, you know what, Miss Lowe, according to the marketing and all that stuff, actually, what they're doing is playing with devil's advocate. Okay, they call themselves marking it up. Once again, she becomes just this slave. Just like on Wall Street, first thing they ever did was look at their teeth, see what they can offer, see how much money you can get. It's just like a whole nother cattle call story. Just like they sold her pancakes, they took her name off it, didn't pay for generation after generation. And she was so important in the community of Bronzeville because she is also just like Madam C.J. Walker and all them. She wanted to invest money into the underprivileged areas of Bronzeville. She wanted to create all types of entertainment venues and show the possibility of a people that you can do something positive, that you can come up, and not because it's just based on money. It's about doing the right thing while you're attaining these riches, while you have these monies. You know, and once again, you know, it's just like Black Lives Matter say, you know, they once, you know, they want to checkmate everything. Once again, if it can't make money, it don't make sense to them, and that's all they want is the person's money. You know, they continuously keep destroying her spiritual soul when this world is burning right now. Because it's Sambos, because of signification, because of just running around and don't even care to hear these type of stories. We must continue the history. We have to continue the history books. There are tons of entertainers and people all around that are dying. They're dying because people continue to keep stealing. They continue to keep grabbing all this money, and the dreams have been so deferred that we are in a nasty gap.
That's true. Very true. Very true. And it's a shame to say, but here it is, it's 2021 and we're still living through this. But I just believe that if we keep on doing what we're doing, we will get a breakthrough. I'm not giving up. I would take it to my grave. I'm not giving up. We're gonna keep on until that breakthrough comes. And if I die, okay, my children and grandchildren keep it going until we make some change. As Michael Jackson said, we got to make those change.
Yes, we are the
Nobody
change.
can do it but us.
This is it. This is it, you guys. This is it. This is the biggest platform ever because it is going to create the change that we all see in ourselves. And because we love this, we don't love this world. We're a part of this world. We do have a lot of responsibility on what we do, what we say, and how we conduct ourselves as people. Our pride is gone. And we are just stuck. It feels like that. But lucky for you guys, I'm a soldier. I'm a real soldier.
There we go.
I know how to survive these wars. I know how to sit here because carrying the vanguard of the truth, I have to. I can't sit here and just allow people to take and steal and do what they want with not just our community, because I'm not about xenophobia. I'm about indigenous Americans, people that have been here for quite some time. Doesn't matter where you come from, but they used to pull up their strings by their bootlaces and get out here and work. We have too many uppity people out here. We got too many people that are lazy and they don't want to, they're scared. They have been in slavery. This is modern slavery. They are terrified. They got cameras everywhere. You can't do anything. We got policy on top of policy and nothing is really being done because we got those gatekeepers that are the Aunt Your Mamas.
Well, look, and the beauty of this project is the fact that none of us asked permission to honor our own.
No,
we just did it on our own. We didn't get a funding source. We didn't ask somebody for some chicken dinners to be sold. We just pulled up our own agency, our own talent, our own experience, and came together to make something beautiful. And that's scary to people.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, well, who paying for this? No, we doing this ourselves.
Okay.
So it's beautiful.
Just like they did back in them days. They had no choice, like Miss Brown said. You don't have no choice. I'm not sitting here waiting for the next door neighbor when I got my family over here on dirt floors, starving still. I got ancestors in a whole nother right next door that is happy to have lights on.
That's right. That's right. CHUCKALUCK want to say something? CHUCKALUCK? Is CHUCKALUCK?
He just giving us the high five.
High five. All right. You want to say something, Chuck?
Yeah, I've been wanting to say something about 3 days ago, but check this out real quick. Everybody's hitting on so many great points. Can you hear me? That's the first thing. Can you hear me?
Everybody can hear.
And everybody's striking what I call a chord, right? Everybody's hitting everything because this whole cultural movement and art movement that I was talking about is circle. to put it in a nutshell, this is all about self-determination. We don't have to pipeline everything we do under the American governmental construct, meaning the corporations which are running a lot of things. So I'm about removing ourselves as an indigenous people from under the American corporation paradigm and the government, because all the crimes that they continue to commit against Black people. We talked about the COINTELPRO program that happened with the Fred Hampton, the movie that came out. Also, we're looking at the COINTEL program, which is the new classification for indigenous people or Black man or Black nationalists, is now Black identity extremists. That's what they call us when we speak power, truth to power. I want everybody to get that clear with that we have been reclassified since the what's the name, Hoover, back in the day, right? So right now, everything that we're doing with my friends that have just purchased a farm about 3 weeks ago. Now, everything, we're going to move people from out of the cities into farms so we can educate, right? So we can teach people about growing their own food, get off the matrix grid that we've been on, because that's our problem. Every time we keep complying to the American custom, meaning their voting bias. People we can agree to disagree, put it that way. But what I know and what I've seen over the last 400 years, or 65 years since the Jim Crow era, we're still in the same place that we've been 2 years ago. Meaning what? What do I mean by this? We're 1% of the American wealth, but we over $3 trillion into the American economy, which means that we as people are not responding and using our critical thinking and use our economics to push us forward. Martin Luther King, once he realized that integration was not going to work,
right?
He wanted to start walking down the road of the economic plan, and that's when it was off with his head. That's just the truth of the matter. And when we look at the dream, when he talked about it, look at those speeches. See what happens with white America and all this social media we're looking at. They control the narrative, so they make sure they do everything. They erase our history, erase who said what, who did what, right? So and what happens? We forget. That's why I don't want them to tear down Christopher Columbus discovered America, because 500 years before that the Vikings came. So there's a lot of distortion that's been going on with our history. I think all this to say this: we're on our own, and if you want to see a change on the planet, we have to be a change now, and we can't change it. Trying to make a change, pipeline it through the American government or the American corporation. I'm sorry. If that's what your belief system is, then look at what's been happening to us so far. You see, you're fighting for reparations. Some about reparations, about repairing our minds and our souls and our spirits and our culture and our history, and what's moving forward by our own means, and not by pipelining through a ballot box, for example, because you're not going to get reparations. I live in Evanston. We're dealing with the first reparation in America, right? And now I'm an activist, which is getting ready to come up, right? I'm getting ready to. I don't know if you see my article that I talked about in Evanston about me returning to, because I raised my kids out in Evanston. Well, of course, our roots are in Bronzeville. We're all Bronzeville kids. Maggie, Sherry, I think all of us are most of them. At one point lived in Bronzeville, and I'm from the west side. But the reparations, everything they do, they always spoon us. I'm saying give people their money. Let them do whatever they want to do. Buy their child something. Do something, because there's not enough reparations that's going to repair, even keep sustaining them having a home here. So let's be real about it. And so my thing is like, give them their monies. These are our ancestors. We know that everybody still to this day is eating off the blacks of the sharecroppers, starting with the cotton fields that fuel the economy as we know it today. That's why everybody's here. When they come on the back of indigenous people, those are our ancestors. So we're here to represent them, because we already know that the American government is not going to listen to us or make a change for us. We have to be the change. That's all I have to say to that.
All right. That's right. And I want to say about Evanston, I know they doing the reparation, giving back, but it seemed like they give the property, but who has the deeds to the land? Because if you're gonna give reparation, they should have deeds to the land and the property. Now, I'm not too knowledgeable about real estate, but I'm knowledgeable enough to know that if I have these to the land. I can put whatever property I want on that land. It could be a school, it could be a store, it can be a church, you know. So who has these to the land? If you're gonna give reparation, also give me the deeds to the land. Don't just give me a property that you can find some kind of way to take back from me, like they did at Kennedy King College when they was rebuilding around the area in the Inglewood area. They was taking those people property, their houses that they worked hard for years. My sisters used to stay in that area, and she would give me the 411, the news of what was going on in that area and how they was taking their property, something that they own. They worked hard. They raised their family in. And when they wanted the land, they figure a way to take the property from them. So if you're gonna give me reparation, give me the deeds to the land. Then you really talk about reparation and everything else that belongs with it.
That's a great point. That's why we're doing having farming and going on our own, because we're already being reclassified as a people too many times, and we ended up with African American, which does not connect us to a deed or to a land.
Right.
That's why when they say you're black, we're not that. When they say you're African American, they know this construct understands that you're not connected to land, which means we're very lawless in our own land here. So we're not protected by we're protected by an illusion of a law or a constitution that's supposed to protect our rights and our amendments and all that. It's just an illusion. Just like the police is to serve and protect, that was an illusion. So because you see what happened, you know what I mean? People been killed by law enforcement. I'm not trying to blame all personnel in law enforcement, but we know that they're part of the Ku Klux Klan and judges and so on and so on. Which is held true. Okay, now going back to the property thing, this is why I'm going to encourage black people, so-called black people, we're indigenous people, but we have to start unifying together, and that's why my friend, with his name Prince, Czar Emmanuel purchased his farm not far from outside of the hospital. And we talk about expanding. I know that Jerry has some land. We got to start going and getting on our own land. Get away from this American paradox that we in, because we got to understand that all those people that are your judges, your aldermen, your mayors, they all have to follow a certain protocol under oath. That's why you haven't seen our communities transform. So you have to take people from the grassroots. We're grassroots people. We're the real deal. There are all those people that I call the old guard. They have not been able to make a change in I don't know how many. Look at our neighborhoods. Are you kidding me? And check this out. And what's going to happen? We know they're going to put $30 million into Bronzeville, right? Yep. But they're already setting up for the justification to set in, because they're going to tax you out of your neighborhood. And they're gonna take our culture with them. When we call it the blues district, how come we call it the blues district? We don't have not one blues club since the checkerboard. And I'll play with all the greats. So I'll play as many with the blues guys that I could. All our blues statesmen from you name it, James Cotton, Junior Woods that I played with. And I'm walking around here going, this is the blues district. And I remember seeing Mortar Waters and Hollywood when I was walking past checkerboard, and we don't have not one blues club with all the history and the first black renaissance in all of America. American music is Bronzeville. That's how I look at it. And it's like we don't have one club.
Thank you, Maggie.
Go ahead.
All right, we got.
I'm sorry that I have another Zoom. I got to go get on.
So, all right, no problem.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for being a part of
the library. Yeah.
All right, be safe.
See you April 23rd.
Love you.
I love you.
All right.
But you can speak to that.
Okay, how much time, Katie?
I'll give you another 15 minutes. Okay,
thank you. And I want to say thank you, Maggie, again for being a part of today's show. I mean, the girl is just remarkable. She's talented. She's gifted. She's amazing. She has so many hats. I think I just named just a few of the hats that she wears. And I mean, God bless her and her family with such richness. And I'm not talking about money wise. I'm talking about beyond money wise, materialistic things. So God bless her. Let her continue be successful, Lord. Amen. So move right along.
Okay, I want to ask: is the reimagining Aunt Jemima exhibition? Is there a fee? Is it charged? Is it open to the public? Is it free?
It is free.
All right.
It is open to the public 7 days a week. The hours that they are open are posted on the Chicago Public Library website for Woodson Library. But yeah, the beauty of this exhibit is that it is community curated, which means all of us contributed to celebrating Nancy Green and Edith Wilson, who has her papers at the Woodson Library. So Edith Wilson is considered the last Aunt Jemima. She was the first woman to appear in radio and in television representing the Aunt Jemima product. And so her papers are there. So we'll have them both juxtaposed against each other, talking about the first Aunt Jemima, Nancy Green, and then the last Aunt Jemima, Edith Wilson. Chicago has the distinction of having 3 women who portrayed Aunt Jemima for the company. The third woman is Lou Blanchard. So Lou Blanchard and Edith Wilson already had headstones when we realized that Nancy Green did not have a headstone. Because certainly if they did not have a headstone, our effort would have included all 3 of them.
Now, Nancy Green, was she the first? Well, it was her product, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was her product.
So is there a reason why she didn't have a headstone? Is it the time of that has any correlation to do with the time that she was born and the time that she died? And the last 2 women who represented Aunt Jemima were later after her?
Well, one of the things that we found out when we put together news articles and also census reports and even her death record is that it shows that she had stopped working around the age of 80. So she had stopped working some 9 years before she was killed by an automobile at age 89 in 1923. Some stories try to say that she, worked all the way up until her death, representing the product brand, but the timeline does not work well so far as the reality of not just her age, but the fact that records show that she had already stopped representing the company. But it was some 10 years, 15 years after she stopped representing the company that a new Aunt Jemima emerged. So there was a big space between her role as the product ambassador and then the next person who took that role. So we're still compiling the names of the many women who represented the product brand, but I think the list is nearly 30 women all over the country.
You say she didn't receive any form of royalties, payment?
There's nothing that shows that she received any residual. I can't even find if she had any sizable income from her appearances. It looks as though she probably did a pay per appearance because she continued to live in a household, with her family members. But then again, I like to imagine, because we're talking about reimagining Aunt Jemima in terms of these incredible women who represented this product. I'd like to imagine that because she was a member of Olivet Baptist Church, that if she had any residual income, if she had anything extra, that she put it into this ministry work that was there. Because, those of us who have attended church, they have a missionary fund, they have a college fund, they have a sick and shut-in fund, they have a building fund. So all of these different funds would have been available for her to contribute to. But the beauty about the Black Baptist Church is that we can look at the emergence of many Black colleges that are based from the Black Baptist experience. So when you look at historical Black colleges and university, it was these pennies, dimes, and nickels that newly emancipated freedom seekers, newly freed slaves, whatever you want to call them, they put these pennies together in order to build great institutions that we enjoy today as universities. And so
historically Black colleges and universities were birthed out of the church.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where they came from. Absolutely.
Yep. And so she would have been on the forefront of that, you know, with this church being established before the end of slavery. The other part about Olivet Baptist Church, when I first tried to find out records of who was those early members, those records were in an institution that I'm not going to name because they have a paywall to visit. But because I'm a librarian, I have access to materials in institutions because, I'm a trained librarian. But one of the things that I found in this institution that had some records of Olivet Baptist Church early beginnings is that they had 1840s, 1850s, 1860s. They had ledgers of the members of Olivet Baptist Church putting their nickels and dimes and pennies together to pay for clothing and shelter and medical care for those who had escaped slavery and came into Chicago, because there were slave catchers in Chicago who, if they saw someone without their freedom papers, or even with their freedom papers, we saw 12 years a slave. This man was a free man, but they still stole him into slavery. So one of the things about living in Chicago, you had to carry a $1,000 bond on you, showing that you were a free person. So you couldn't walk around as a Black person before the end of slavery in 1865 without someone being able to question whether or not you were a runaway. So Olivet Baptist Church created a fund to shelter those who came up here as freedom seekers who were runaway slaves. And the evidence of that is in some of these institutions that I visit. So there's a phenomenal story around just the fortitude and the tenacity that it took in order to plant yourself in Chicago when it was such a racist town, had slave catchers running around trying to snatch anyone that was of African descent. And this community of the church had a fund to make certain that if they got put in jail, somebody was going to go in there and attest, both Black and white people, that this person isn't a runaway slave. This person works for this person, so because you might not have your papers on you. So there's a lot of different stories that are layers around her arrival coming here and her work for the Aunt Jemima product brand.
I want to say something. That sounds like to me like the Harriet Tubman story, the railroad, when everybody was pulling together to help slaves. And I know for a fact, I'm still digging in my own family history that my great-great-grandfather was a part of that. And that, that helps me to understand myself. How come I am the way I am? Because I'm learning my history of my own family. And that was such a big move because people was fighting for their freedom, So I want to know with the pastor, I think the first pastor was David Lett. What's his name? Pastor David Lett. Now, was he a slave as well, or how did that go?
Well, the first pastor of Olivet Baptist Church was Richard de Baptiste, and he was of Haitian descent. His records in the census reports and even his death record show that he was born in Virginia. I find him in records already in Chicago in 1860, and that meant that somehow he was able to get his freedom. He is listed as a mulatto, And mulatto doesn't necessarily mean that you are light-skinned or whatever. You know, some people think that means that you are light-skinned. No, that could have been a code for saying that there was some benefactor who was white who gave you a platform so that you can be a person who can at least pursue your own ambition. So he was already a pastor at the time that Olivet Baptist Church was established in 1850. Again, we're talking about before the end of slavery. Illinois was considered a free state, but it was not a free state. There were the first 3 governors of Illinois brought their slaves here with them. So when you hear about the monuments movement and you hear about them wanting to tear down some of the monuments, and especially in Edwardsville, Illinois, he was the 3rd governor of Illinois. He was a staunch slave proponent. He believed that slavery was okay. So he kept his slaves when he arrived in Chicago and even in Illinois. So a lot of people think Illinois was a free state. It was not a free state. You know, it recognized that those who owned human lives could transfer that type of ownership where they went somewhere else. They had to create service bonds for them when they came into Illinois. But overwhelmingly, I've not read any of those service bonds that says, oh, in 10 years, you can then, live on your own. All of them said perpetual. For the end of your life, you will be in servitude or bondage to me. So on April the 24th, I will be speaking on a panel discussion that's going to be held by the Illinois State Historical Society to talk about how Edwardsville, which is a small town in Illinois, even though the town is named after Governor Edwards, the slaveholder, they want to take down every statue of Governor Edwards. So there's different perspectives that are happening all over the United States. But for me, I know that our effort as the Reimagine Aunt Jemima exhibit, and even as the Nancy Green Dream Team, we're about celebrating, raising the visibility, and elevating the tremendously important stories of our own people. So I had told a reporter one time, I said, excuse my French, I said, hell, we've been looking at the George Washington statue at 51st and King Drive all of my life. Later I got a perspective that you all call him the father of this nation. But if he's the father of this nation, then every single person that I know with the last name Washington is associated with him because he had so many children with his slave.
Yes.
So if you're operating thinking that I'm offended by something you attribute as a stellar person, a person with a moral compass, or he's an accomplished warmonger, or he was the first president of the United States, that's on you. That's your history of how you look at this person. But us who understand the truth about some of these people y'all name streets after and that you put monuments up to, we've never looked at them and said, oh, what a glorious person. You see what I'm saying? So our work is to celebrate our own. It's an honor. That's not my work to tear down your mistake, because some committee got together and put that money together. It took 20 years to save the money to build the Stephen A. Douglas tomb site. He died in 1861. They didn't finish his grave marker, which is 96-foot tall marker over his grave. They didn't finish that until after 1881. So somebody put the mind that this was a person that they wanted to honor. So I'm not spending my time worrying about how you're trying to say, oh, we shouldn't have did that. I'm wasting my time even thinking about that. I'm using my time wisely and talking about how can we honor our own? How can we celebrate our own? How can we salute our own? How can we just teach each other about our own?
And you're right about that, Ms. Williams, because I'm down here in Mobile, Alabama. Oh yeah. Oh no, I don't know about that now. But you know, but the most thing that is quite different is that Illinois, you can still see the lines of segregation and everything. Down here in Mobile, Alabama, you see the lines of that, and everything is just gone. Only thing left is land. Families have been destroyed. No marketable type of career skills here. Education has been done 40 years ago. People down here are still very illiterate. They're not engaged in their communities or neighborhoods. They only associate with one another. So you can only imagine what's going on with this COVID stuff right now and practicing safe techniques. No one cares down here. As far as they're concerned, slavery has pretty much destroyed them. So now they're trying to get motivated and at least connect to the North again. So we have a lot of us younger people, graduates, who are actually coming back home. We're coming back down to where our ancestors are and discover that from these roots, we got to work all the way up. We're totally in a rebuilding phase right now, which leads to multimedia television, history, of course, in the musical sector, dealing with civil rights and musicians and music and songwriting that has made a difference. And the secret is to write about things that matter.
That's right.
Write about things that matter. You know, if people don't have a solution or listen to something that makes them feel good and do good, you know, it's hard to really just navigate through this world. You know, Nancy Green was a jazz singer. Miss Patice, I love that soundtrack you and Chuck and Maggie created. What's the name of it, Chuck? If it ain't sitting well,
ain't fitting on me well.
Yeah, I love that track. I love it. I love it. You really do that. You did a great job on that.
We also wrote together Storyteller, Caretaker, quite a few together.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's totally great.
You know what? This is what I want to say about when I first brought it to attention, because I've been telling all these songs, and I make the artist kind of write and study her Nancy Green's history. But the thing that came naturally to me when I said I want to call the song "It Ain't Sitting With Me Well," and it ain't fitting on me well. It was a metaphor for all the things that happened to indigenous people, not just Nancy Green, but people who came before and after her. But Nancy Green is a key center to all this, because all these things that have been happening, whether it's our politicians or any corporation, whatever it is that is starting minds, we're saying now, in these days, we're not complaining, because we repair ourselves, but it ain't sitting with some policies. That's what I'm really saying in this song. They are not sitting well with any of your constitutions anymore. I want to remove them from your constitutions. As a matter of fact, that your forefathers put it to protect them and not us. And that's what Sherry's talking about, is that everything is self-determination. We did enough 400 years of trying to abide by your laws, trying to get that, trying to get things so y'all can help our community, and y'all still not doing it. And so the thing is, it's like, why do we need to abide by your laws? Guess what? We're getting ready to create our own laws. So this is what my brothers that I'm working with, working on our sovereignty and our own nationality, to remove ourselves from under the American corporation paradigm, as well as the government. And we don't have to fight them and shoot them. We're going to do it spiritually. But I'm going to use my musical gun, okay? It's the musical gun that's going to wipe you guys out. And because now we're about reparations. Reparations. Not reparations. We return ourselves back to, because what were we before we got colonized? Who were we? What kind of people were we before we got colonized? So we go back to the original people. That's what me and my partners is working on in behalf of Bronzeville, because Sherry opened that Pandora door, and this is the perfect season to speak, to do what we got to do. I don't need to pay attention. I understand what war we in. I already understand that. But what we're doing, we're going to build now. We don't care about your policies. If you give us something, I'm not going to turn down any money. But guess what? We're going to raise our own money. We're going to do what we're going to do. And I don't care about what y'all, we're going to have our own laws. We're not going to be beat by your laws in your court system because I know your court system is a part of our demise. I'm sorry to tell you this, and those who don't disagree, well, we can disagree, but the data shows that the facts are there, not feelings. The facts.
Right.
Hey, listen.
Facts are feelings. All right.
Listen. You know, our platform. You're all invited back. You know, you can come back at any time, but all good things must come to an end.
Yeah. I really enjoy myself.
You all have anybody that has listened today has truly gotten an education only if you listen. Now, if you didn't listen, you didn't get anything. But truly, there was an educational history lesson here today on Lady Patice live stream. And we are asking everybody to share this podcast. And I want to tell everyone, thank you so much for taking out your time to come and tell this story.
Can I have a minute to say something?
Come on, yes.
I want to also piggyback off of what Katie Lowe is saying. Thank you all again. I know I said it before. I don't want to dry nobody's ears, but I greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Sherry, for opening up your platform to allow us to use our ability and our creativity, everything we have to help this movement come, to where it's at now and to press it forward. Thank you, Shania. Thank you. I appreciate being family. My husband, like,
yeah.
Oh my God, the hug. Thank you, Shania. I look forward to seeing you in person one day. Shanette, thank you so much. God bless you. Maggie, wherever you are, if you're hearing us, if you're taking a peek for a second, thank you for coming today. And CHUCKALUCK, man. I love we do so much together in the music, and I have so much fun doing it. And so thank you, CHUCKALUCK, for being here today. And Katie Lowe, I love you. I love all of you all here. And most of all, we wanna say thank you to our audience for just being here and just watching us tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show. Check us out, press share and like, and I'm welcoming y'all back anytime. Just call me and let me know.
Yeah,
Good night, everyone.
Your event is on the 23rd. Your event is on the 23rd? April 23rd.
The event on the 23rd of April this month.
Try to come back right before this event.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, are you going out with music today?
Yes, ma'am. Inside your body. Good night, everyone. Each and every day. Inside your mind, you won't go astray. I put a spell on you. No other woman can love you like I do, and I love you crazy. Hey, I'm your mojo lady. You can't run. I'm your mojo lady. Mojo lady. I'm your mojo lady. I'm your mojo lady. I'm your mojo lady. Good night.